Probably. Look,
Okay.
the only time that we've ever had 4 number 1 seeds reach the Final Four came back in 2008. And what did we see in this round in 2008? We saw 2 blowouts. Kansas beat North Carolina by 18. Memphis beat UCLA by 15. So even though these point spreads are short, history tells us, and again, small sample size, but history tells us these games might not be quite as competitive as the point spreads would indicate. That being said, we're talking about teams 1, 2, 3, and 4 in Ken Pom of all the college basketball teams. All 4 of the teams remaining, top 10 Ken Pom adjusted offensive efficiency. All 4 teams remaining, top 10 Ken Pom adjusted defensive efficiency. A combined record of 135 and 16, although we take out a 1-1 because Florida got a win against Auburn and Auburn got a loss. So a combined record of 134 and 15 for these 4 teams against everybody but each other. Clearly, we're talking about elite squad. And when we're talking about teams at this level, my gut reaction is to take points and not lay points. All right. That being said, both of these guys have already made really strong points about why Florida, to me, is the right side. And even though, in general, I'm looking to take points and not lay them, the first meeting was no contest. All right. The Gators were double-digit dogs. They led by 10 at halftime. They led by 21 in the second half. They ended up winning by 9. They had 5 players in double digits, 22 assists on 31 buckets, 48% shooting, only 11 turnovers. In that game, Auburn at home, they had 15 offensive rebounds. Broom and Kelly combined 40 points between them, 16 to 37 shooting. But they were shut down from the three-point line, only 7 3-pointers, and they didn't hit free throws, 14 to 23 compared to 15 of 18 for Florida. So the Gators are a better free throw shooting team. The Gators are a better defensive team at the three-point line. The Gators are a better three-point shooting team in that contest. I expect more of the same. And we talk about betting bandwagons. That matters a lot to me this time of year. And again, it's something that both Marco and Joe mentioned. Florida's only 1-3 ATS in the big dance. And again, the Norfolk State game, remember they led 42-14. It was garbage time by midway through the first half. They only won by 26, didn't cover. UConn took them to the wire. All right. Texas Tech took them to the wire. -9, -6.5, too high in those ball games. Well, Auburn takes to the wire. They can still cover this number. And Auburn's the one with the betting bandwagon right now. They got the cover against Creighton, the cover against Michigan, the cover against Michigan State. So in the last 2 weekends, you made a lot more money backing Auburn than backing Florida. That tells me the number might, even though I want to take dogs, it's too cheap to take the dog here. I think Florida's a better team. Gators are pass for me.
Teddy covers. I'm going to go to you first. Houston is a 5-point underdog to the Duke Blue Devils. Saturday night, the second game, 136.5 is going to be the total. And hey, I love the underdogs. I do, but this has not been an underdog tournament. Can you talk me off taking the points here with Houston? I know I have the 10-1 ticket with John Murray from the Kelly and Murray show. I think I just have to let that probably ride, for lack of better words. I'm not betting Duke money line here. I want Houston to win the game, obviously, and I think that they have real opportunities to do so. But again, the dogs just have not been barking.
Yeah, that's again, what we've seen so far, that's all rearview mirror, Kelly. What we're going to see this weekend is we're trying to project. And just because we've seen a chalk-heavy Final Four and a chalk-heavy tournament does not mean that we're going to see a chalk-heavy last 3 games of the college basketball season. And look, Sweet 16 matchup last year between these two teams. Houston was -4. Duke won 54-51. Both teams shot 41% from the floor in that ballgame. The last 4 minutes of that game, 3-2. One empty possession after the next. And I expect more of the same this time around. This is an under matchup. Forget about the side here. Let's talk about the total. All right. Duke just held Alabama to 65. Alabama to 65. The game stayed more than 3 touchdowns under. And again, they had a defensive game plan for the Crimson Tide that BYU didn't, where they were going to switch, and it worked. And that's what we would expect from Duke in these situations. And of course, we talk about this elite defensive team, and I know how good their offense is, but Houston's allowed 65 or more only twice since February 1st, their last 17 games, since that overtime loss to Texas Tech on February 1st. So 17 games, they've allowed 65 plus twice. Colorado in the Big 12 tourney opener, not exactly max intense. And the Zags in round 2. And I'll tell you, if you watch that game, you know Gonzaga played a near perfect contest. Kelvin Sampson's team controlled pace against everyone, all right? We're talking about truly an elite defensive team, points allowed, the advanced metrics, and Duke's right there with them. And especially if we talk about Duke playing in the ACC, they haven't seen a whole lot of defenses like this. You know, I'm expecting a lower scoring affair. I'm not expecting a bunch of scramble points at the end. And I would look first half under, full game under for Duke and Houston. Before I let you go, Kel, or before I kick it back, I do want to let you know about what's going on right now over at WagerTalk.com. Running good this week, 6-0 the last 2 days. Picked up a quick 18.3 units for the clients on Monday and Tuesday. I'm riding a 78% NBA run over the last couple of weeks, 14-4. I won 8 straight in the first round of the NBA playoffs last year and closed out the playoffs, hitting 80% in the finals, 9-3 with my last dozen. Right now, you can get every play every day in the NBA for the rest of the year. $195. Get the playoff package, get the rest of the regular season free. And I do like the back half, or not the back half, the back portion of this NBA season. The betting markets kind of fall asleep. We make money when we pay attention.